Riley 1.5, a twin carb version of the Wolseley 1500. Next up we've got a Leyland Princess. You don't see these too often. The A60 Cambridge, different front end. A little Ford 100E popular here. Got a major Model A pickup envy. Popular with driving schools. The Invicta Black Prince is on the move. Late 1940s. Well, welcome to Old Classic Car, and today we are at the Gawsworth Hall Classic Car Show for the first time in maybe 25 or 30 years. I'm here at Gawsworth, so let's go for a walk and see what cars are here. There's already some lovely old cars here. Like I say, I'm not quite sure of the layout. It's the parking is fairly informal, a little bit here, a little bit there, and there's a big field over behind somewhere, so I'm sure there are going to be some fantastic cars here. It's a beautiful setting. Over the back there we've got the old Gawsworth Hall itself, which I think was built in about 1480 and dates back to Tudor times, so it's certainly a very historic venue. And there are going to be some very historic cars here too, including this wonderful very early MG. We've got a 420G Jaguar here, beautiful maroon car. It's not every day you see the Batmobile either. Cars are pouring in. Look at this Vauxhall. Certainly is a stunning setting for a classic car show. XK120 fixed head coupe. Not quite sure what we're looking at here.
Yes, right, yes. Morning. You're with me, Rolls-Royce. Yes. Still.
The Wolseley 1885, based on the old Land Crab and the Austin and Morris 1800. Oh, that's the Wolseley 6. That's the 6-cylinder version, even rarer than the 1885. So I stand corrected. Behind the Stag, we've got a beautiful TR4A in black.
Helicopter goes up.
Mercedes SL.
And you've got this whistle goes.
MG Midget.
Yes. The only problem.
A great little Austin A35 van. Behind the A35, a Singer Gazelle. That looks like a nice original car. SL Mercedes. Fiat 124 Spider behind that. A Lotus Elan. One of the M100 cars, I think that is. An Austin Healey Frog Eye Sprite Mark 1. And its distant cousin behind it, the Midget 1500. Coming in now, we've got a Vauxhall Viva HC. Now I'm wondering, is this the one we saw at Woodford just a week or two ago? A very, very clean car in the same owner's possession for 40 years. I've got a feeling it's probably the same car. The Riley 1.5, a twin carb version of the Wolseley 1500. Some fantastic cars here already. We've only been here a few minutes. Behind the Morgan, we've got a Triumph TR5, 2.5 litre fuel injected car. A glorious Bentley just behind that. Many sevens also following in behind the Bentley. This souped up sit up and beg Ford with an EO4A Anglia grille on it was at Woodford as well just the other weekend. If you've not seen that video yet at Avro Heritage Museum, please check that out when you're finished here, of course. Don't go disappearing just yet. And we've got a Dodge Charger 500, very, very burbly indeed. Another Morgan, Sunbeam Talbot Lotus behind that. And these always sound fantastic. What a great sounding car that is. MGC, what a Bobby Dazzler that is. And a Riley, beautiful vintage Riley. The BMW 3 litre CSL, the E9 Coupe, the lightweight version. What a beauty that is, what a great 1970s colour that is. Absolutely stunning car. Following in the BMW, the classic BMW here at Gawsworth Hall today in Cheshire. And the Morgan here. An immaculate Morris Minor Traveller on an F registration. MGB GT. We've got another SL just coming in the distance there. You don't see these too often. The fastback Sunbeam Rapier of the late 60s and into the early 1970s. Very few of those have survived. Such a distinctive looking car, there's no mistaking that for anything else really. As settings go, it doesn't get much better than this. TR4A, TR4. So this has a solid rear axle, the 4A has the independent rear suspension. Mercedes, a Porsche. Next up we've got a Leyland Princess. You don't see these too often. This is on a V plate, so about 1979 or thereabouts. A good old Leyland Princess. And behind that we have a minivan, complete with vent in roof. And behind that a mini saloon. And bringing up the rear is an immaculate black Austin A55 Cambridge Mark II, sort of 59 to 61 or thereabouts. Yeah, you don't see too many of these old wedgie princesses anymore. 1700 HL. Certainly a lot shinier than the A55 Mark II that I used to run a few years ago. We see this one here and there, but it's always a treat to see it. The big fin version, they dropped the big fins when they revised the car into the A60 Cambridge in about 61. It's quite an early Ford Model T Tourer there, brass rad car. I like the foil over the front of the radiator there just to sort of get the temperature up a little bit. Wooden wheels, no brakes on the front. Harley's already been to the Auto Jumble. droop snoot Firenze there, Vauxhall Firenze. Triumph TR3A, right hand drive. Bentley, of course. Got a Series 2 E-Type 2+2 Coupe. Lovely 4.2 litre XK engine under the bonnet of that one. Lovely graphite grey metallic MGB GT, a rubber bumper car on a P plate. Another Shadow 2, I think. And a mighty Wolseley, look at that, beautiful old Wolseley. So what's that, a 12 is it? Yeah. Fantastic. That's a Wolseley 1248. MGB GT V8, 3.5 litre Rover V8 engine under that bonnet. Another beautiful Bentley there. That's a Derby era Bentley. I'm not quite sure who did the coachwork. Maybe we will. Sorry? It's a hooper bodied Bentley, Derby era. So what year's this one? A late 36 4.25 engine. Fantastic. What a beauty that is. I should be doffing my cap. Stunning car that is. Triumph Stag Burberry 3 litre V8 there. Sounding wonderful as always. Another one here. That sounds very fruity. What a symphony for the ears. And the Resto Mod 911. Oh, we do like a fruity air-cooled 911. 3.8 litre. Good heavens. And much later, Porsche here. I'm not quite sure what this is. A Cayman R. Another one. And a big Ferrari behind that. TR6 follows in the Porsche 924. It's a great turnout of classic TRs here today. Plenty of Rolls-Royce and Bentley cars as well, which is understandable given that Crewe isn't too far away. Burberry V8 928. What a sleek car that was. 1978 car of the year, destined to be the 911's replacement in theory, but it didn't actually happen. The 911 soldiered on. The 928, I think there was about 4 different key versions of it through to the S4, but the 911 continued. Changed a lot over the years, but yeah, the rear engine flat 6 911 continued and outlived the 928 by a considerable margin. Great little Wolseley 1100 there. TR, another Leyland Princess. Oof, 2 of them so far. Will we see any more? The other one was a 1700 HL. What's this one? The 1800 HL. Complete with period mud flaps. A Riley Kestrel version of the ADO 16. Very similar to the Wolseley 1100 we just had. A Triumph Dolomite. Dolly sprint wheels, but I think it's an 1850 HL. What's this? This is a Falcon. This is a Ford-based special of the 1950s, based on the Ford Pop chassis, the sit-up and beg pop, fiberglass body. We've got another midget there, I think, or is it a Sprite? I'm not quite sure. Driving in gracefully is this lovely old Triumph Roadster KRO 711. Behind that, a Bristol. I'll have to look up the model number of that one. I can never quite remember. A matchless powered Morgan. Hoping my local Rolls-Royce correspondent will be able to identify this one for me. Roger, if you're watching this, what are we looking at here? MGTF, the 1500 car. The big Healy behind that. It's on a 67 registration. Got a Jaguar C-Type replica behind that. Some of these cars are sounding quite warm.
You're all together, are you? All together.
I should know what that is. Is it a Camaro? Yep. Another big Healy. 7. Behind that is a Porsche 968. That was the revised version of the Porsche 944, and the best thing that I remember about these is they have a very squishy back bumper, because one year, many moons ago, when I worked for a bank, we had a large staff car park on a slope, and my Saab Turbo that I was running at the time, the handbrake released itself and it rolled off down the driveway into the back and impaled itself in the back of a Porsche 968 Club Sport, very similar to this. That was quite embarrassing, to lose my no claims bonus without actually being in the car, so that was a bit of a downer that particular day. But yeah, that's my abiding memory of the 968, my Saab impaling itself into the back of it. Another magnificent vintage Rolls-Royce there. Great Porsche, one of the last of the air-cooled 911s, if I remember right. 993, is it? Alpha GTV, either a 1750 or a 2000 GTV. We had the A55 Cambridge Mark II before, and this is the replacement, the A60 Cambridge, different front end, slightly wider rear track. This has the 1622 B series engine as opposed to the 1489 in the slightly earlier car, but yeah, that's a very clean, tidy example. I like that. Different backlights as well. A Lotus Europa, a Europa twin cam. Didn't they have Renault gearboxes, if I remember right? We've got a Rolls Silver Spirit and a Morgan behind that. One of the two-door Rolls Royces. Is that the Corniche? Very swish car, much rarer than the Shadow. Very elegant indeed. A Carman gear. MGYA or YB. I think that's the earlier YA, larger diameter wheels. The YB, slightly smaller wheels. MG midget, round arch midget. You don't see those quite so often, more usually not. They're usually squared off, and they did actually revert to squared off arches a little bit later. So they didn't make these for all that long apparently. So I wonder where Batman and Robin are. Is this one of the original TV series cars? I've got a feeling it probably is. What a wild machine this is. I think they used to have problems with overheating when they were doing the filming of the old TV series. But what a great thing that is. Beautiful flat rad Morris here. Now, is it a Cowley or is it the Oxford? 3 stud wheels, so I'm guessing Cowley. Quite a few modern supercars here as well today, but we'll be concentrating mainly on the older cars, including this fantastic V4 Saab 96. And this Carman gear from 1971. TVR Chimera, one of several TVRs we've seen coming in today, and there's plenty of Lotuses here today, including this Elise. Another very fruity looking Porsche here on an M registration, so early 1970s. That sounds very purposeful indeed. The Rover, a P5 3 litre 1965 coupe. Beautiful car. Straight six cylinder engine. Forerunner of the V8 powered cars, the P5Bs, but this is the original P5 3 litre. And a Porsche. And another fantastic Wolseley. Now this could be pre-war or just post-war. It's a Wolseley 14, so that'll be, I think, the 1458 police car. So that's what you'd see in your rear view mirror if you were a bit of a scallywag in the late 40s and early 1950s and evading the boys in blue. And the Morgan here on the 52 plate, that's 2002. And an MG TD in green behind it. Behind the MG, a good old Morris Minor 1000. That's a Series 2. So that would have the A series engine in it, very similar looking to the earlier cars, but it's got the horizontal slatted grille by this point in time. The early cars had the cheese grater grille. There's a Wolseley 1500. We had the Riley 1.5 litre before, 1.5, and this is the Wolseley version, single carburettor. Very nice little cars. RS2000, that one. Burbling its way in, a Chevrolet, about 1957, a Bel Air, 4-door. Series 3 V12 E-Type. Shadow 1, quite an early car, Manchester, local registration number on that Shadow. A stunning Jaguar XK120 here. This is an XK120 drop head coupe, yes. What a cracker that is. Behind the Aston we've got a Series 1 E-Type Roadster with hardtop. Doesn't that look it? That looks $1 million, doesn't it? Those hardtops really suit the cars fantastically well. Beautiful, beautiful car. 3.8 litre straight six engine. Not an electric motor in sight. Harley's going to be happy. Here we've got an AC Ace. It was this car that formed the basis of the Shelby Cobra in later years, but that's a beautiful car. What do we have here? Sunbeam Alpine. That is a beautiful car. Behind that, a 1966 Wolseley 1660. So another variation of the Farina. And the P6 Rover, the 3.5 litre V8 powered car. That'll be an automatic gearbox. The 3.5S had the manual box. Talking of automatic gearboxes, we have a Jensen Interceptor SP. So that was a souped up version of the Interceptor, still with a big Chrysler V8 engine. A Range Rover Classic behind that, convertible no less. I've seen this before somewhere. Great little VW Beetle. Another big Healey, Austin Healey 3000. A Corvette. Behind that, very, very smart blue Mustang. Now this is a rarity. This is an Invicta Black Prince, and I've seen this for many, many years at different shows, but not for a little while. Wow. I can't remember what year it is. So it's a 46 Black Prince, isn't it? Yeah, I remember this from years ago at some show, Astor Park and places like that, going back a bit. So have you painted it in more recent times? 12 years was it? Yeah, yeah. A fantastic looking car. Hello? What an incredible looking car, the Invicta Black Prince. Classic here from Blackpool, a little TVR, one of the S series cars. Another beautiful Derby era Bentley. A real variety of classic cars and sports cars here. Quite a late MGA 1600 Mark II Roadster with the recessed front grille. They changed the grille slightly. Originally the grills came all the way to the front, but on the last cars they had this slightly recessed grille, as you can see on the red car behind. This has got the more familiar grille on it. So the other one was a 1600 Mark II, this could be a 1500 even. Still with the same B series engine basically, just slightly different capacity. The Triumph TR7 drop head. Behind the Bentley we've got a Herald 1360 convertible. So that'd have the 1296cc 4-cylinder engine, separate chassis, swing axle rear suspension, MGB GT, lovely one on painted wires. And a somewhat modified Mini. I wonder what the story is with this. It's a rare one. Ford Model A, two-door saloon, a Tudor, 3.3 litre 4-cylinder side valve engine, Ford Capri there, 3 litre gear, V6, MGB GT on an M, Porsche, about to take my toes off, Morgan, and a VW Splitty camper on a 1966 registration, and its slightly younger brother, the bay window camper behind that. Still the cars pouring. A very modified V8 Morgan here. Well, that sounds purposeful. Fairly early Morgan there. Nice steel wheels on it. Lovely little MG there. Got a Stag. Nice MGA Roadster as well. Lovely pale blue on painted steel colour wheels. 6700 RW. The Morris Mini Minor, an early Morris badged version of the Mark I Mini. Triumph TR3A being hotly pursued by a Triumph Vitesse 2 litre Mark II saloon. Lovely sounding straight six engine in those. A Toyota, an early Land Cruiser, is it? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Refreshments have arrived. Now, a Series 2 XJ. We saw this yesterday on the Cheshire run. And here it is today at the Gawsworth Hall. Hello. Hi. Beautiful Austin 12, late 1920s Austin 12. Wow, the Jaguar behind that, Mark 9 I think. Yep, Mark 9. Porsche Targa. Mighty Buick there on the G plate, 1969. Great VW. And behind that we've got a Jaguar 420. This was a revised version of the Jaguar S-Type before the XJ came along. Just a bit of an interim stopgap model, quite rare now. They did do the Daimler Sovereign version as well of the 420, the 4.2 litre car. And in hot pursuit of this Porsche Boxster, we have a cracking little Austin 7 box saloon, about 1932-ish or thereabouts. What a Bobby Dazzler that is. We like that. Mark II Ford Consul there. Lovely car. Consul 375, yeah. So that's the 4-cylinder car. TR4. We got a Triumph Spitfire with GT6 bonnet and the 2500S badge on the bonnet, so I think we know what's going on under the bonnet of that car. That takes me back to the 2.5 litre Spitfire that I used to run way back in the 1990s. Coming in now, we've got an Austin 16, just post-war, late 1940s or thereabouts. The Saab 99 Combi Coupe in bright orange. Austin Healey Sprite. And a little 7 here. Proper little Lotus 7. Alpha 2000 GTV, flared arches and the GTA style. Following that in, just down there we've got a Marcos. Porsche 914. Austin 7 Ruby, about 37 or 38.
Well, if you could just see the microphone on it, go down in the road
V8 TVR, the electric fans whirring away. I think there's a bit of a queue to get in now. A little Ford 100E popular here. It's getting quite busy here now on the entrance. A lovely Morris Traveller there, followed by a 66 big Healey, Austin Healey 3000. Well, the Wolseley 1500, there's a few of these here today. Austin Cooper S. A stunning pre-war Triumph here. It's a second Jensen Interceptor we've seen today. Very burbly V8 Bristol. Like the Jensen, a big Chrysler V8. So what do we have here? I think this is a Piper.
Thank you, 25.
There's that lovely little Vespa 400 that we've seen at Capesthorne Hall Classic Car Show. But today we're at Gawsworth, but Capesthorne Hall actually isn't all that far away as the crow flies. It's just a few miles away, but for some reason we just haven't been to this particular event for a long time. I don't know why.
I was going to put in the car. Is that the advance? Watch your back, watch your back.
Oh, we've seen many of the arrivals here at Gawsworth Hall Classic Car Show 2023. So we'll go walk past the Batmobile here, past the Sunbeam Alpine, complete with weather equipment. I'll just avoid this front engine V12 Ferrari. But yeah, we'll have a bit of a mooch round and see what's here. Certainly filling up. There's that glorious Invicta Black Prince. Like I said before briefly, I remember this at shows 20-25 years ago. Yeah. Looks like it's been tidied up a little bit more in recent years. The owner was saying it was painted about 12 years ago. There's information. So it's got a Meadows 6-cylinder double overhead cam engine, twin plug head, triple carburetors, 2 distributors, 2 batteries, 24-volt dyno start system, 4-wheel independent suspension, torsion bars front and rear. First of only 17 produced over 4 years of trading. This was the show demonstrator and the only one with this body style. The others being mostly two-door open Taurus. 14 known survivors worldwide. Cost new in 1946 £3,000, which was quite a whopping amount of money at the time. What a fantastic car that is. There's the triple carburetors down there. Double overhead cam, similar to the XK engine of course, but this was by Meadows. What a phenomenal looking car that is. Well, in a bid to keep this video to a manageable length, we will prioritise the older cars, I think, starting with this Austin 7-box saloon. Stunning little car that is. Got a little motor meter, a little temperature gauge there on the top of the radiator. Yeah, there are lots and lots of really lovely supercars here as well. Well, being as this is a classic car channel, I should really prioritise those. Now we've got this Series 3 V12 E-Type that we saw coming in before the Roadster. Now is it manual or is it auto? It's an automatic, this one. I think most of them probably were. There's that Austin 7 Ruby and the Vespa 400. Great accessibility for the battery there. Can't stop looking at this fantastic Invicta, but at stop I must. I can hear a load of motorcycles coming in. Right, let's carry on down here. So we've got an XK150 Roadster. Some of these cars were already here before we arrived, so there will be some fresh faces to see here. And the V8 Daimler, lovely car, the SP250. I think this is a standard 1934 standard. Well, we like our standards here on the Old Classic Car channel. Beautiful little saloon. There's that Riley, a little Riley Tourer. Oh, the sun's coming out. Good heavens. The sun coming out really makes the colour of this E9 BMW Coupe, the 3-litre CSL L for lightweight, had lightweight panels. It really makes that colour pop. Proper Alpina alley wheels on this one as well. What a stunning car. This is one of the poster cars of my childhood, this is. Just incredible cars. Got the Model T. Engine just turned off. Yeah, we saw this one. Now this is a Falcon Caribbean. Ford pot based, a fiberglass body, so you throw away the original Ford pot body. They usually rotted away after about 10 years anyway, and you could go and buy yourself one of these. Now, years ago I used to have a Nickery Champion, which was very, very similar looking to the Falcon Caribbean. I'm assuming there's a tuned, probably aquaplane equipped side valve engine under that bonnet. These wheels are interesting. These are Bellamy. These were produced and sold by LMB, Leslie Bellamy's company, and he did all sorts of tuning parts for the side valve Fords back in the day, including these, I think the 15-inch Bellamy wheels. The circular drilled holes are the giveaway, but the stud pattern is the standard Ford stud pattern. Well, we'll carry on down the road past that fantastic Falcon. I'm about to get flattened by a Ferrari. I suppose if you're going to get run over, it might as well be by a Ferrari. I think he'll be popping the roof up on this Austin Healey before long. There are some pretty serious looking clouds out there now. If we got our weather from that direction, we'll be alright, but yeah, I'm not too optimistic. Now here's that glorious pre-war Triumph. Now which model is this? Is this a Dolomite? Or I think it is, isn't it? I think it's the Dolomite. I think this is the Dolomite version, isn't it? There's that XK120 drophead coupe. Much more substantial roof arrangement than on the Roadsters. How cosy does it look in there? How inviting is that? Oh, I've got a few rows of cars here. There's that mighty Rolls-Royce, a two-door. And the Rover 3 litre, the P5 3 litre. Slightly different grille compared to the V8, different badging. The V8 has extra fog lights under the headlights there. And of course this one is badged up as the 3 litre, whereas the V8, the P5B, was 3.5 litre. Beautiful car. P5 coupe. Here's an interesting one, a BSA Scout. Front wheel drive, 1939 this car. You don't see these all that often. We'll have a quick peek at the front end. So we've got transverse leaf springing.
It's quite nice, that.
There is an information board in the window. We like our information boards. So while we have a look at the engine, I'll just have a quick look at it. Front wheel drive, fully independent front suspension. Body off restoration of the last 5 years or so. There's a few spots of rain. The roof on this MGA will also be going up soon, I imagine. This big Healey's already got his roof up. I can't say I blame them. Austin Healey 3000 Mark III. Some fantastic cars, and quite a few cars I've not actually seen before, so that's always good when you revisit a show you haven't been to for the best part of 30 years. So this MG, is it a YA? Yes, YA Saloon, 1950. I was right, the YBs have got the slightly smaller diameter wheels. Another MGA there. MGB on mini lights, just like Dad's. Austin E35 van with much Wallace and Gromit memorabilia in evidence. We've got a cellar full of this stuff. There's the back end of that BSA Scout, rare car. Next to the Rolls-Royce, the Midget 1500, a Welsh registered Midget 1500, and the Jaguar 420G. This was the revised version of the Mark 10. The Mark 10 had a 3.8 litre engine, and they made the 420G with a larger 4.2 straight 6 XK engine. The chrome strips down the side are the giveaway from this angle that we're looking at a slightly later car. But yeah, back in the day these were the widest car on sale, but somehow I think it'd probably be dwarfed by many of the cars that are on sale today. All these hateful MPVs that you see driving around. Owned this car since 1984 and only 2 previous owners. What a stunning example of a 420G. Lovely cars, quite underrated. Bit difficult to park, they don't fit in most people's garages. I think that's why the survival rate on these isn't great. I mean, they didn't sell hugely. There was a bit of a Marmite car even when they were new, whereas cars like the Mark II sold really, really well straight from the off. The 420Gs and the Mark Xs weren't super popular even back in the day. They weren't for everyone. They're quite wide, you know, beautiful lines, but they weren't for everybody. Anyway, let's carry on. Got a gorgeous vintage Rolls-Royce here. We've got a little corner, a little hideaway around here. What have we got here? Two-stroke Saab. A bull-nosed two-stroke Saab from 1964. Brings back memories of the bull-nosed van that I used to own many, many years ago, which is now in a private Saab collection over in America somewhere. But yeah, popular little rally cars back in the day. 841cc, I think, two-stroke engine. What a bonny little car that is. There's an RS2000 that came in before. And another one. And a Mexico alongside that. A McLaren of some description. A very odd wiper arrangement. A few spots of rain in the air. Another quick look at the Mark. Well, there are the 420G. Now this is an Austin. I think this is an Austin 12.4. Shades of gumdrop there, albeit this is a saloon. Gumdrop was a tourer. Yeah. Very lofty saloon designed for people with hats, because everyone wore hats back in those days, which was a tradition I strongly approve of. How commodious is that? Huge footwell for the rear passengers. The downside was you didn't have a boot. You had to rely on the luggage rack on the back and a wonderful wicker basket like this car has fitted. So obviously later cars they would have a bit of a hump there for a boot lid and so on. You'd lose a lot of that rear leg room that these early cars had. Lots of brass fittings as well. So I'm guessing late 20s, what about 28, something like that. Next to that, and it's that Riley 1.5. That sounded lovely when that came in. Harley's a big fan of these. MG. Got Lassie having a kip behind the Austin A35 van. I don't want to startle him or her, so we'll go the long way round. And while we do, we'll admire this fixed head MGA 1600 car. Triumph Stag with soft top. And we are at Gawsworth Hall with rain at the moment. Hello. Hello. A Riley Tourer with tonneau cover, which was a wise decision because it started to rain. Umbrellas are going up, but we'll plough on regardless. Now let's have a look at this, another Riley, but what a great mascot. I've not seen that before. This is a Riley 9 4-door Lynx, 1934. Alongside a 1933 Lynx. Some lovely pre-war cars here today. Some shows you go to and there aren't too many pre-war cars in evidence, but fortunately here at Gawsworth Hall in Cheshire, it is being ably supported by many, many early cars as well as later classics such as this Pontiac Catalina and the Mark II Ford Capri. Still, let's carry on. Bit of rain, it's not going to put us off. Although we could do without it. Got very, very wet yesterday at a lorry run. But never mind. We've got a Gilburn with the world's largest bonnet hump. And what's the story with this then? Small block Ford V8, 289 cubic inch, 4.7 litre. That explains the sizable hump on the bonnet. The Rover here. Is it a P2? P2 Tourer. That's the Rover 12. You could get 10 horse cars, the 12s, 14s, 16s. There was the 20 as well, if I remember correctly. These were sold either side of the Second World War. Next to that, we've got an Alpine, an A110 Alpine. Some of these were Spanish assembled. It's a French car, obviously, Alpine, Renault, etc. But some of them were built in Spain. If this is one I'm thinking of, it's got a badge on the back. Yeah, there it is. Incredible car, so low, tiny car, popular in rallying in the early 1970s. Beautiful little car that is. Still getting my head around the layout of the parking here at Gawsworth Hall. It's not super organised, it's a little bit random. It's got sort of walled gardens here, which what makes it such a lovely place to have a classic car show. Got a red DB5. It's just a wonderful location for this sort of event. And here we have an XK140, a fixed head coupe XK140 with many extra bonnet louvers. So I'm wondering if it's got a tuned 6-cylinder engine under there, or if it's just to help cool the standard engine. Very swish. You can hear some cars driving around over there, some quite fruity sounding cars. Got an Austin Cooper, Mini Cooper, 1967, Series 1 E-Type Roadster. Beautiful Austin, pre-war Austin 6. That'd be a lovely thing to drive around in, that one. '66 Porsche. Vauxhall here, vintage Vauxhall. Is it a 3098? I'm guessing it probably is. Yep, 1920/24 Vauxhall 3098. 1920 originally built. Beautiful vintage car. Great for trialling and hill climbs and all those kind of VSCC events which are still so popular today. We've got a Singer here, Singer Le Mans. You have the Singer 9 Sports and the Singer 9 Le Mans. You can tell the Le Mans because they have this humped cowl, the double humps and the cowl there. That's a sign of a Le Mans. This is a 4-seater. Most of them are 2-seaters. Quite popular in trialling. The 2-seaters have a shorter body and they often have twin spare wheels. That's the giveaway from behind, that you're looking at a Singer rather than an MG of the same era. Beautiful wooden dashboard. It's all very civilised, the smell of bacon wafting across the field. We're going to try it for TR3 here. So whereas the 3A had a slightly wider grille that came out to here, or here rather, and exterior door handles, this, to get in, you have to lift up the side screen and lean in and open the door from inside. That's how you open these up, so that's the big giveaway. The two main giveaways when you're looking at TR3s or 3As, exterior handles and wide grille makes it a 3A, neither of those things makes it a 3. Alpha Spider alongside that. The standard Vanguard. Wow. Phase 1A standard Vanguard. The Phase 1s had a much narrower slatted grille and a slightly different bonnet line as well. So this is the revised Phase 1A. Still with the beetle-back styling and the spats over the rear wheels. Very nice car. About 2088cc engine, I think. 4-cylinder engine, petrol. They did do a diesel as well, if I remember correctly, though that may have come in with a Phase 2, I'm not quite sure. The very distinctive beetleback styling. Dinky did a version of this in various different colours, and they are super nice little toy cars. So if you can't got room or the space or whatever for a real Phase 1, you could always start collecting Dinky versions. We've got I think this is a 2-litre Lagonda. A fantastic Vauxhall. What do we have on the end here? Another Lagonda. We didn't see this one coming in, so these were already here when we got here. A vintage corner, a couple of Lagondas and a Vauxhall. That's one swish looking saloon, isn't it? Wow. MGTF alongside, but dwarfed by this pre-war vintage Lagonda. What an incredible car this is. Well, let's have a mooch down this road. The weather is holding off, so we're ever hopeful that things will stay nice and dry, or relatively dry anyway. And there's that MG. These were like a souped up modified version of the flat rod Morris of the day. It was MG Morris garages, that's how it all started out. And this is a very early example. Now, I do like these little air intakes on the top of the scuttle, very similar to those fitted to the Austin 7 Swallow, the swallow bodied Austin 7s. That's nice. Beautiful nickel plating, not chrome. Chrome is a very shiny silver hard colour. This is slightly softer with a slight sort of golden hue to it. Yeah, beautiful. We've got a Ford Model A alongside that, the two-door coupe or coupe. A Fiat 600, slightly bigger brother to the 500, the Cinquecento. Seat also produced these in Spain, and no doubt they were built elsewhere as well. 3.8 Roadster. With a cracking Riley. And a Citroen DS. We followed this one in this morning, and he was going along at quite a comfortable rate of knots. So I was quite impressed with that. It's on a K plate, so about 1971-ish. Well, this is a very enjoyable show here at Gawsworth. I'm so glad we made the effort to get to this one. This example was built up in South Africa in 1972 as a DS20. Wow, imported to the UK in 2015. There's the history if you want to pause the video and have a quick read. There you go. Yeah. Incredible cars. Got Aston there, convertible. There's that beautiful XK120 fixed head coupe that we saw driving in before. An old friend of mine's rebuilding a very, very rusty XK120 fixed head at the moment. So if you've not seen that video where we introduced the car when we went to pick it up, and we both saw it for the very first time as the container was opened, please just do a quick search across the channel for XK120 and I'm sure you'll find the video. I hope to do a video update on that car soon. I know he's been working very hard on it, putting me to shame with his progress. So I look forward to going and having another look at it and seeing how it's coming along before too long. So I must make a note to do that. Now what's this? I'm assuming this is sort of a recreation of a 50s, I'm not sure. Let's see, it's a Triumph Formosa. Started out life as a 1959 Herald Coupe with a 948 engine. Bought as a project in 1978. Bodied by Formosa cars in Poole, Dorset. Similar to the 750 Monza, the 300S Maserati and so on. And it's got a 6-cylinder Triumph GT6 engine, so I guess that must bob along quite well, being a lightweight fiberglass body as opposed to the GT6's steel body. Interesting car.
Wow.
Sorry. Next to that we've got a C-Type rather, the XK120C replica, to give it its official name. Gorgeous side exiting exhaust down there, so that must sound fantastic when it's being extended. I'm assuming it's got an XK engine under the bonnet of that one. But yeah, lovely looking car, really, really nice. There's that Morris Tourer that came in before. It is a Cowley, yep. Three-wheel studs. Three-wheel studs, that makes it a Cowley rather than Oxford, usually.
Oh, right, I didn't know that.
Usually, not always, but nearly always, yeah. There's a Carman gear, of course these are VW based, but bodied by Carman, a separate company. Carman, of course, did the official convertible versions of the VW Beetle as well. So they had quite a tie-in with VW for many, many years. I like this little marker light on the side. Great shape. I know Mrs. OCC will be very, very happy indeed if I got rid of some of my old jalopies and bought one of these. She does like the shape of these a lot. And also the 356 Porsche Coupes, but I think there's less chance of us getting one of those somehow. So a quick peek inside this XK powered C-Type replica. We'll walk up past this Austin 6 and go and have a look, see what's parked over here. We appear to have the contingent of Jensens. We saw a few of them driving in, but we didn't see all these, so these must have got here quite early. So I've got a variety of different eras of Jensen Interceptor. I wonder if we've got any FFs here. Let's have a walk along the row and just see what we can see. I don't think I've ever seen so many Jensens together in one place. I love that metallic green. That's reminiscent of the Aston Martin race cars of the 1950s, like the DB3s and the DB3Ss, that kind of thing. An FF. So this looks similar to the Interceptor, but it's a four-wheel drive car. FF, Ferguson formula. It's got a slightly longer front, same engine as the Interceptor. A slightly longer, slightly squarer front as well. You can see a bit of a curve going on there, but it's much squarer on the FF. These were a phenomenal car. Anti-lock brakes. That was really cutting-edge stuff in the late 60s, early 1970s. So yeah, the two sets of slats set into the front wing, that tells you that this is the FF four-wheel drive. Right, let's carry on. Another Interceptor there. This is the SP that we saw driving in before. I'm not quite sure what the difference is, but I think that was the tuned up version of the Interceptor. Another beautiful maroon example there of the Interceptor 3, all powered by a Chrysler V8. Over here, this is my favourite, CV8. This one won the show at Weston Park that we went to just a few weekends ago. We see this one at several classic car shows throughout the year. I tried to buy one of these from a barn over in the northeast just 2 or 3 years back. It was unsuccessful. But incredible looking cars, quite distinctive, a bit of a Marmite car, but I think time has been good to it. And now these are very, very sought after and desirable cars indeed. 140 mile an hour I think these could do back in the day. Of course you wouldn't do that now with the 70 mile an hour speed limit, but you know, if you find yourselves on a de-restricted autobahn, I'm sure you could wind these up great even now, even so many years later. Now, we've got a few Bristols here. This is a Bristol 403. We saw one of these at Bicester Heritage just a week or so back. These two we saw driving in as well. And what's this on the end here? Wow, special bodied Bristol 2 litre. We've got a bodybuilder's plaque on the side there. Is that Pininfarina? Wow, what beautiful detailing. Look at the door handles. From a distance it looks quite like an old Lancia or something like that. Yeah, great lineup of Bristols and Jensens in this corner of the field. What a treat to see this lot together. And this is where all those little sevens have congregated. We saw quite a few of these driving in earlier on in this video. And there's a nice early Lotus 7 right at the end here. So we've got all these later Lotuses. But on the end here, quite an early car. Let's cut through here. Just gonna have a look at that. There's a fixed head Elan, an Elan SE, complete with knock-on, centre lock-on, mini-light wheels. But yeah, this is on an H-Reg about 1970. That's great. Proper nice wide steel wheels. Right, we're on Lotus Row now, local Lotus Cortina. We know this one well. Followed this for many miles over to Woodford just a couple of weeks ago. There's that Sunbeam Talbot Lotus. Cracking cars these are. Lotus power plant. People like Henry Toivonen used to rally those back in the day. The Land Sprint. Gold Leaf Team Lotus liveried Europa. If memory serves, the roof line changed a little bit. The early ones didn't have a step down at all. I think they just went zoom, straight across, but I could be wrong. Let's go and have a look at that other yellow Europa further down. Past this Sprint and the M100 series Lotus Elan, which is we've got here, front wheel drive car. Yeah, this has got the much different roof line. Drops down a lot more compared to the other car. The other one sort of just jinked down a little bit and zoom across there, but this one goes zoom, zoom, so you get a little bit of rearward visibility. So I guess that's a bonus when you're whizzing along in your little Lotus Europa. Well, Elan Plus 2S, convertible version. An Esprit. The Elan SE convertible. A pair of. This one's got the side window frame, so I'm guessing is this a slightly more upmarket version? I'm not too sure. Perhaps the drop head coupe, if you like. And a gaggle of slightly later Lotuses or Loti over here. Right, here we go. Morgan Corner. We saw so many Morgans coming in. And here they are, all dotted around, parked over in this particular parking area. Morgans of all ages, shapes and sizes.
I just thought I can't see the point in this because you've got to be driving so quickly before you find this place. I didn't have any Yeah, 2019. Just got it.
Up on the hill here we've got an immaculate VW Beetle. Now I've got a feeling this belongs to someone who has a very large, interesting and quite exotic collection of vehicles. Well, this is his daily runaround. An immaculate VW Beetle. What a cracker that is. Next to a Mark III GT6. And the Morgan over here. This looks a bit modified, little racy Brooklands aero screens on this one. More Morgans. Just look, what a wonderful. Are these +8s, are they?
Those are the +4s.
Oh, the +4s are over there. Yeah, doesn't it look great? Just parked up here in this sort of meadow, if you like. While we have a look here, before we leave the Morgan section completely, let's just have a look over here on the end, because that looks like quite an early one. 735 JRB. That looks like quite an early example. Again, with those steel wheels that we saw the other one driving in on earlier on. And this too has the Brooklands aero screens. Proper aero screen. For less wind resistance. The downside is you need goggles when you're driving it, because otherwise you'll end up with eyes full of flies. Which, well, you can look cool with goggles on, depending on the person. But yeah, what a great place this is for a classic car show. Like I say, it must be 30 years almost since we last came here. So I'd forgotten all about this really, but what a treat. Right, so there's a load of Corvettes over there. We saw most of those driving in before. I think we saw those as they rumbled in a little while ago. So let's have a look over here to something we didn't see driving in before. A little Citroen van. Is it the AK400, the 2CV van? I love the Michelin sign writing on the back. Yes, it's obviously 2CV based. Little air-cooled engine. There's the coil. One feeds either cylinder. Little flip-up windows, no wind-up windows on these beauties. Yeah, the AK400 fourgonette, small van, 1977. New chassis, disc brakes and seats. Well, the body is original with very little rust, the main enemy of 2CVs. 602cc and a mighty 28 brake horsepower. Maximum speed of 50 mile an hour downhill with the wind behind it. This van lived most of its life in Cannes, in Normandy, and as such, with little or no assault on the roads, has managed to survive for 40 years, and I hope it will manage 40 more. What a bonny little vehicle that is. There's Monsieur Bibendum on the back. Michelin man. Clermont-Ferrand, there's a race circuit there. Wow. So I'll peek in the back. There's no one sat in here. No, there isn't. That would be embarrassing.
You'd be able to tell if there was someone sat in it.
Yes, they are quite wobbly, the suspension on those, aren't they? Quite softly damped. But yeah, what a great location this is. Let's carry on. It's a Fergie. This belongs to the owner, I believe, of Gawsworth Hall. It's not a Ferguson tractor. And a Series 2 E-Type, a Roadster alongside that. Okay, over in this corner we've got a Welsh registered 1966 Austin Ely 3000 Mark III. What a beautiful car that is, with wind-up windows, all the mod cons. MGA Roadster 1600. Yeah, we saw this one driving in before. And there's that grille I was saying about. I asked a question about these grills at a show visit we did just a couple of months ago, and someone confirmed that it was only the very late examples had these sort of stepped back grills on them, whereas most MGAs just have the grill bars coming here flush with the front. Yeah, it's quite a late one, that is. Because of course 62, it's got a 62 tax disc in the window, and 1962 is the year that the MGB first came out. This is a 64 car. The very early ones had the pull door handles, but this one's got the pull door handles as well. So there we go. MGB, the GT on an H. These came along a little bit later, I think in about 66, I think it was. Yeah, they probably announced in 65 and probably went on sale in 66, something like that. They've got a TF. There's a Roadster here, the B series, the 1800cc B series engine, twin carburetors. This is a 79 rubber bumper GT. This is identical to the car that a lady who used to live opposite to us when I was growing up, she had one. And she shot out of her driveway one day and backed straight into the front of Dad's Volvo 144. It demolished the front wing of the Volvo and he did a new front wing, but the MGB, all it had were a few little bits of plastic indicator lens stuck in the back bumper. So while these big bumpers weren't for everyone, they certainly did the job. Right, let's carry on over here. See what other old MGs we've got here. We've got a chrome bumper Roadster on a J, a GT on an M. What a great colour that is, I like that. Got an MG Magnet, a Veritone Magnet, I think. Is that a Veritone?
You'd only be moaning if it was red.
One thing I thought about this one.
A ZB Saloon.
It's usually the Woolsleys you see in this two-tone colour.
Yeah, but the Veritone had the bigger back window. I'm not sure if that's a smaller back window, isn't it? So it's two-tone, but it's not.
With those two colours. Usually the Woolsleys that have those two colours, isn't it?
But they did the Veritone, which was sold from new with two-tone colours, but they had a much larger wraparound rear window. This has got the standard rear window, I think. I'm sure someone who knows their MGs will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right there. The TF, that was a revised version of the MGF. They did away with the liquid, the hydrogas suspension. Another one there, TF, MG RV8.
These are grown on me recently.
Yeah. Got a few vehicular movements over there. TR6, bonnet raised. And I think if we head our way over here, make our way over here, there's a bit of an auto jumble area as well. Let's go and see what's parked up over in the backfield here, because I believe there are many, many more cars to be found lurking over here away from the main Gawsworth Hall. Well, there's a huge Porsche club presence here at Gawsworth Hall today. Porsches of every shape, size, age and so on. There's loads of them, loads and loads of them. So I think we'll focus on the older ones as befits the old classic car channel. We'll just have a quick overview. A 356C, 1964. And we'll just have a look out for. Yeah, they are nice, aren't they? We'll just have a quick scoot round and just hunt out the older Porsches that are here today, including this wonderful left-hand drive coupe. There's that orange Porsche 914 we caught a glimpse of driving in before. I like the wheels on that.
That's what I said, really nice.
ATS wheels, alley wheels, made in Germany. Shouldn't they say Fabrik in Deutschland? Something I would have thought.
I actually really like that one.
Yeah,
It's one of the best ones.
yeah, it is neat. What have we got here? Carrera 2s, matching pair there. 993, I think. .928 in white. Just at the end of the auto jumble area. Oh dear, I've got major Model A pickup envy. Wowzers, that is just wonderful. I'll donate various limbs to get hold of one of those. This is a slightly smaller version of the Ford Model AA truck that we had until not that long ago. But that wouldn't fit in the garage, but one of these definitely would. And I'd love to find one of those somewhere. What a great little truck that is. Isn't that just incredible? I think that's just beautiful, yeah. Fantastic condition, not too shiny, we don't do shiny. Wow, beautiful. Down the hill there, and over yonder, is another field full of old cars, so we must remember to go and have a look over there, because I wouldn't want to miss out that lot. What do we have here? Over on the other side of the auto jumble field, but a Morris commercial. Early 1930s little Morris drop side truck. God heavens. What a cracking little thing that is. At least I know where to come if it starts raining.
That's a good idea.
Yes. Morris commercial. As backdrops go for a classic car show, They don't get much better than that.
All these Americans were never my cup of tea.
What a great lineup of Corvettes. Yeah. Alright, let's see if we can find our way down to that lower field that we saw before. We go past the Ferrari Testarossa and a Lamborghini Espada by Bertone bodied. Super wide car. Here's that AC Ace we saw driving in before. What a stunning little car that is. Bit of information here, good news. 1955 AC Ace, registration OBC 43. There we go. This has got the original 6-cylinder 2-litre AC engine. So that's quite unusual.
AC Ace in this, yeah. 1955.
Right, let's see if we can get down to that lower field.
Oh, yeah, actually, no, we're still on that.
Citroen H van there, the fabulous Fizz bar. Right, so the main classic car parking area is over there, but we're just going to have a quick look at the Rolls-Royce Enthusiast Club Northern Section stand. I saw some of these driving in before. It's a mixture of Rolls-Royces and Bentleys. Yeah, let's have a quick scoot down here, see what gems we can spot amongst all these old Rolls-Royces and Bentleys. Wow, look at that. And over here we found a Ford Model A two-door saloon. We've just been talking about Model A's actually, because Harley's quite keen on getting one of these, and he's a little bit older. TR6 with umbrella, a TR drop head, and the 420, the Jaguar 420, which, like I said before, was based on the S-Type, an interim model, and in '68 the XJ6 came out. Well, we seem to have a gaggle of Wolsleys over here. So this is that Wolseley 6 that I incorrectly thought was a Wolseley 1885. I think the grille arrangement is very slightly different on the 6-cylinder car compared to the 1885, which has the B series. Yeah, you don't see many of those. There's that Wolseley 12 we saw driving in before. 12, that's not brake horsepower, that's the horsepower rating for taxation purposes. There's the 14, I think it's a 1456, complete with police Winkworth bell on the front. The Wolseley 1500, 1660. I bought one of those off a work colleague years and years ago, £100. Had some new sills fitted to it and ran it for a while. It was a nice car, comfy car. The P6, or the Wolseley 1500. Yeah, very drivable car, rack and pinion steering, really nice things to drive. V8 XJ, we had one of those. The Wolseley 1500. Grandad had one of these, didn't he? He had a grey one, do you remember that?
I don't think I did.
Before he got his Morris Minor, he had one just like this. It was just like the same colour as that. The Wolseley 1500. Here's that 2.5 litre Spitfire we saw coming in before. Like I say, happy memories of my own 2.5 litre Mark III Spitfire back in the 1990s.
Must be fun.
It's got a GT6 bonnet on it to clear the big 6-cylinder engine, but mine didn't need that because mine was mounted about a foot further back in the chassis, so you didn't need the clearance that the power bulge gives you. So it's a bit more of a wolf in sheep's clothing, but these sound fantastic. Really, really torquey engine, very similar to that in the TR6, although this is probably on carburetors. I wouldn't have thought you'd put the Lucas PI on it. TR3A with a 4A behind it. So which TR club is this? The TR Register. TR7, TR6, 6, another 6, and 6, and 6. And over here we've got the Stag Owners Club. That explains why we saw so many Triumph Stags driving in before when we were hovering around the entrance. There's the Triumph 3-litre V8. Many people shoehorned Rover V8 engines into these, and then many of those cars have been converted back to the original Triumph engine now. Now all the cooling issues and such like have been resolved. It's quite a practical proposition to carry on running one of the original Triumph engine cars, but that wasn't always the case.
I think these trimmed up sprites and midgets.
There's sprites and midgets over here. Yeah.
I really like them.
Frog eyes, I do like a nice frog eye. It's quite a turnout of classic MGs and little Austin Healey sprites here. TVRs over on the back row there. Many, many TVRs. Let's carry on along this row. MGTC. Slopey headlights 6-volt Beetle. The Citroen 2CV Dolly. And next to that, a magnificent Rolls-Royce. Again, coach built. This was the era when you would order your chassis and then you would choose your favourite coach builder to clothe it in the bodywork of your choice. Closed top, open top, whatever you wanted. And a great Beetle here. I like the look of that one.
This is the current style of this sort of...
Daimler V8 250, 2.5 litre V8, cutaway rear arches, Coombs style.
It's been lasted over.
Yep, two stainless steel exhaust pipes. Some very pronounced exhausts on this one as well. And there's a little sunbeam. 64 Triumph TR4. Spitfire Mark IV. So that still had the 1300cc engine, similar to that in the Mark III.
These are just great, aren't they? Really cheap old sports.
Yeah, felt affordable, fun little car. And how about one of these?
Yes, I like
Triumph
those.
Herald 1360.
I think they're such a sharp.
Great car if you're driving towns. One of these would be perfect. These were popular with driving schools back in the 1960s. Great turning circle like a London taxi. Great visibility, very small, narrow, thin windscreen pillars. So you get a great view out. Yep, really easy to park because you can see the tops of the fins on the back wings there, so it's really easy to position and park. And as far as practical classics go, of the sort of late 50s, 1960s, you could do a lot worse than one of these.
I really like that. I think they're nice things.
Okay, TVR there, a pair of VWs we saw coming in before. Nice camping equipment there. The big Healey, MGB Roadster in dark green. A Mini Cooper with chopper bicycle, a Chopper Mark 1. I remember riding one of those. I used to have one of those gear sticks. Could do you mischief if you slid off the front of that seat. Painful memories. Right, Fiat 500 there, little round arch Bridget, MG Midget. The Mini Cooper, one of the later cars that was when they brought the Mini Coopers back. When they first reintroduced the Coopers in the late 80s, it was actually as a kit of parts. You couldn't buy a built-up Mini Cooper. Then after a while, Rover Group started offering the complete cars. Austin Cooper, another big Healey TR4A, lovely powder blue. It says, isn't it? Very swish.
I really like the body on it.
It's a very unusual body on this Austin, isn't it? Really sort of, yeah, real barrel shaped, isn't it? You'd think it was a 4-door, but it's not.
Is it 12?
I think so. It's a lovely bodywork on this. Just look at the sort of the barrel sides almost.
Big chunky.
Again, lovely nickel plated brightwork. Headlamps by CAV. Those are, they've got a little calometer. Sometimes you have motor meters. This has got a calometer, engine temperature, the coolant temperature, straight into the top of the radiator. Got a 1928 tax disc here, probably a reproduction of an original disc. So that's your date, 1928, Austin 12.4. Yeah, very unusual bodywork, beautiful plated fittings inside, just lovely, lovely quality. Look at the door opener there. Well, let's just have a quick scoot up here then. We did see some of these cars arriving before, so we probably don't need to spend too long on them. But here's that MGB GT V8. There's a company called Costello. They started doing V8 conversions in the early 1970s, and before BL started doing it. And then British Leyland obviously thought it was a good idea to shoehorn the mighty Rover 3.5 litre engine under the bonnet of the MGB GT body shell, instead of by this point in time the MGC was no longer in production, I think. These handle apparently really, really nice indeed. And next to that we've got an Anglia Super, a Ford Anglia 1200 Super, registered 20th of July 1966. And here's those two princesses, the Leyland princesses. One was a 1700 and one was an 1800. I can't remember which was which now, but it's rare to see one at one of these shows, and to see a matching pair alongside each other. Wow. That's probably not something that happens all that often. We used to have a British Leyland garage in Cheadle when I used to grow up. Cheadle, Cheshire in the 1970s. It used to be Reed and Son on the main high street. And I used to go in there all the time cadging brochures off them, most of which I've still got, including brochures for the Leyland Princess like we've got here. But yeah, great looking cars. There's that Austin A60 Cambridge and the Carman gear. Little MGTD, is it, I think? E-Type with hardtop. The Rover 100 series version of the P4. What else have we got along here? Great GT. A Ford Capri on period correct alley wheels. Mark 1 Cortina 4-door. This one looks like it's been souped up a little bit. 1966 Aeroflow model. You can tell that because it's got the different grille and the little vents in the rear roof corners here. Oh, looks quite purposeful in there. Bucket seats, sporty little steering wheel. I wonder what the mechanical story is with that little gem. This XJ6 Series 2. This one turned up spectating on the Cheshire Run yesterday over in Whitchurch, or near Whitchurch. We saw this one there. Another classic Jaguar here, what a beauty that is. I do like those. Very, very nice. The Mark 9, isn't it? The one-piece windscreen. Got an XK, I think this is a 140. Yeah, 140 with the more spaced apart slats on the grille. And they usually have a big, hefty chrome bumper on them as well, but this one's been removed. Here's a 150 with the big bumper on it. There's that Saab 99 Combi Coupe with EMS alley wheels. Those are the standard fit on the fuel-injected Saab 99s. I remember those well. This is the Combi Coupe, the hatchback version of the 99, and that body shell rear of the screen was also used on the 900s, but the 900 had a longer front end on it compared to the 99, which we've got here. And this is a Piper, isn't it? Piper GT, I think this was. Wild looking car. This was David Piper's company. He was a sports car racer back in the, I presume, 1960s or thereabouts. And these were named after him. This was his own car design, probably inspired by some of his Le Mans exploits. I'm not quite sure what the mechanical spec of this car is, but it's a pretty wild looking car. What a great survivor that is. And a huge rear screen as well. Look at that. There we go. David Piper. Next to the Piper we've got this Austin Healey. This looks like it's been set up for fast road work. Louvered bonnet, beautiful, painted black, some wire wheels. It's what, 100M or 100 it says there. The Healey Frog Eye Sprite, the Mark 1 Sprite. Capri 3000 GT, the Mark 1 Capri. And on the end here, an E9 series BMW Coupe. That's the 3-litre CSI, the fuel-injected car. Very, very nice indeed. Got a 635 CSI, one of the 6 Series coupes. They did a few different engine sizes. There was a 633, was one of the early versions. But most of the cars you see are 635s. I'm not quite sure what this one is, but it's probably one of those. Rover P5 3-litre saloon. Now we saw a coupe way over there somewhere, and this is the saloon version of the 6-cylinder Rover 3-litre before they shoehorned the V8 Rover engine into it. And this is our Land Cruiser. These are really nice, I like that. Carrying on further down the row, split window V-dub. There's that mighty Austin 16. There's a post-war design. I think some of the running gear was pre-war, but this was a post-war design for the brave new world following World War II. The Mark II console. There's that nice early Morris Mini Minor with some very interesting wheels on it. Let's have a look at those. Speedwell wheels. Speedwell was one of many tuning companies that were around back in the 1960s. I think Graham Hill was associated with Speedwell at one time. A much modified Mini here. So what are we looking at here? Morris Mini. I did see some badging on the back when this drove in before, so let's have a quick shufty around there. So this is the Radford Mini DeVille.
This Mini's more Mini than normal.
You don't often see opening quarter lights on Minis like that. That must be one of the Radford mods. I like the Lucas fog and spot lamp pair set into the front grille. That's a very modified Mini, isn't it?
I bet that handle is beautiful.
Someone called Gordon. I wonder what the story is with that.
Smaller.
It's been shortened, isn't it? There's a 1360, yeah, 1360 Herald convertible. There's that Series 2 Morris Minor. Long body moulding. So the two-door Morrises, usually the gutter comes down here and comes down to there, and this moulding around the back of the roof stops there. But on a few cars in the 1950s, it carried on a little bit longer. I'm not quite sure why that was, but I remember reading about these when we had a Morris Minor, and this is the LBM, the long body moulding car. Bit of nerdy information. Next to the Morris, we've got this Saab 96 with a V4 Ford engine, Ford of Germany, the Cologne V4. That's Bridget again. That Triumph Dolomite 1850 with the Sprint Alley wheels. And we've got a few goodies for sale here. Ooh, MX-5. What do we have here? So this is a Riley Kestrel Mark II, the ADO 16 car. Got a GT6 handbook there. There you go, Hal. That'll look good in your collection. GT6 handbook. A Mark I GT6, in fact, I might have that myself actually. MX-5 guide. I think I might have to have that. That'll come in useful. What's this? Oh, that's one of those 6-volt screen demisters, a Bakelite windscreen demister. So you'd plug that in. There's little rubber suckers. That would hold it to your windscreen, and you could mist your screen in theory as you drove along. Quite rare. Well, there's that droop snoot that came in before. There's a pair of A35 pickups over there, which we'll have a look at when we go up that row. They are quite a rare sight now. Prefect 100E, we've seen that one before. Souped up pop. And there's not much pop there. And here is a matching pair of A35 pickups. They only produce fewer than 500 of those at full stop. It's rare to see one. There they are, 487 made. I think they'll be closing those bonnets before long. Yeah, super duper rare little vehicles they are. You can't fit much in them, but they're very, very cute. Right, I'll try and keep the worst of the rain off the camera. The TR6, one of the stacked headlamp Mercedes Fintails, 1965. Yeah, great. The Bond baddies sort of car this is, isn't it? Look, beautifully made. There were a few cars better made than these back in the 1960s. Wonderful car, 220 automatic. I think Mercedes still sell the chrome for these at a price. But yeah, lovely quality car. Really, really great cars. Austin A35 van. Wow. At one time it probably had little pop-up semaphore indicators in here, and you used to be able to buy these blanking plates, so if you fitted flashing indicators like this one's got, you could just block off those little holes where these pop-up trafficators would have been. Yeah. Great little thing.
Oh yeah.
And the same little rubber side light mountings as they used to use on the A30. The A35 had like a bit of a chrome plinth, the saloons. Singer Gazelle. Yeah, that's nice that is, isn't it? We were over at Llandudno yesterday and there was a Singer Gazelle convertible, slightly earlier one with slightly different grille. But a rare car, one of the posher versions of the Hillman Minx. That one's a 1964, complete with Lucas spot and fog ranger lamps on the front. Really shiny, smartly turned out GT6. Now it's on a G plate, so it's got a Mark 1 front on it. Let's have a look around the back. It could be a very late Mark 1 perhaps. It's badged up as a Mark 2 on the back. The trick will be to have a pier underneath. If it's got the Rotoflex rear suspension, which was a slightly more advanced version of the suspension that was fitted to the previous, the Mark 1, if it's got the Rotoflex back end, the chances are it is a Mark 2 with a Mark 1 front on it. Very pretty little coupe, 6-cylinder of course. At the end of this row we've got a Riley RM Saloon, one of the 1.5 litre cars. Is that the RMA possibly? Very complicated cars to restore. I wouldn't go buying a rough one of these. It's like a composite roof, it's not solid metal underneath this vinyl, it's sort of mesh and padding and this sort of, what do you call it, Rexine on the top. So yeah, if you're going to buy one of these, have a very close look, maybe just a little prod. I'm not touching this, but have a little prod of the roof because that'll tell you a lot about the structure of the car. It's got Morris Minor 1000 rear lights, a Humber Super Snipe. So this is one of the slightly later cars with the 4 headlamps at the front. This is on a 64 registration, but they still had the curvy roof line. After a while they went to sort of much straighter windscreen without the wraparound. And same with the back window, this has still got the wraparound rear window. But after a while, a bit like they did with the Super Minxes and things like that, or the Scepters, they went to a much squarer roof line to give it a bit more headroom in the back, I imagine. But style wise, look wise, I much prefer these with the wraparound windows. Yeah, I did make some noises about trying to buy one of these years ago. One of the ones with the later roof lines was a lady had one that's been chauffeur driven from new, and she was talking about selling it, but I never heard anything about it, so for the sake of my wallet it's probably a good job. Okay, various Morris Minors, bonny little 2-door Austin Allegro here. Is that Sunbeam Rapier? And next to the A55 Cambridge Mark II that I spoke about before is this. Now I didn't see this driving in. What a cracker that is, a little comma. Now which model is that? I can't quite remember. Is it the PB or the forward control comma? What a great little commercial that is, a little drop side pickup. That must be rare. You can see like the front wheels, the steered wheels there, way behind the steering wheel, which is over there. So there must be some interesting linkages to get back to there. But yeah, I like that a lot. So a quick peeking through the window. It's even got an 8-track player in over there, you can just see it there. This mighty Pontiac we see driving past the house quite regularly. It went past this morning actually on the way over to here. We've got a fastback Mustang. One of the big old Triumphs. Is it a 2.5 or
I don't know, you can't see.
a 2 litre? Can't quite see. It's a 2.5. Tucked away over in this little area here, the historic rally car register. So let's have a look, see what gems we've got hiding around here. So first off, a grey Morris Minor Traveller, the Morris 1000 Traveller. This Ginetta, I did spot this one driving in earlier on. I think I got a little clip of that. Aren't these Hillman Imp powered or something like that, if I remember right? G15. I think we're on the right lines there. This sounded really fruity, this Riley 1.5. I wonder what engine's in there. I'm assuming it's still a B series, but people have dropped MGB engines in, 1800cc as opposed to the original 1489. Another one of the Mini Coopers. 2-door Escort. The Triumph TR4. What is this? A 1947 Hudson alongside the Dodge Charger 500, which is burbling away alongside, but this, now, I didn't see this coming in before. A Hudson Super 6. Of course, Railtons were based on Hudsons. Look at the dashboard on that, and the radio, the built-in radio is incredible.
This is not hot rod, it's actually original.
Yeah. And a Fulton sun visor. Fulton's the original manufacturer of so many of these visors that you see on old American cars and trucks. Pickup trucks as well often have these fitted. There are repro ones around, but this is a real deal, the genuine Fulton sun shield. Fantastic. Can I have a quick peek inside? The owner said I can have a look inside. Oh, I like that little wind deflector as well. Little tinted perspex wind deflector. That's very cool. Beautiful clock built in there. So you've got the generator, the charge light there, the oil pressure light there. Hudson Super 6 logo. And that radio, I can't get over that radio. What a stunning car this is. Column shift. Beauty. Looks like the original headlining, original trim. What a beautiful car that is. And you can see the visor, how effective the Fulton sun visor is. It's quite a narrow view out, especially if you're quite tall. It looks like it might be adjustable slightly. But yeah. What a beauty. So this is a 58 Buick Riviera Limited, so it's a 4-door. This is a cracking car. We've seen this one at Cholmondeley Castle, and it's going to be there again in a couple of weeks, I'm reliably informed, so we'll look forward to seeing this there, because what an eye-catching car that is. Can you imagine rechroming one of those? You'd need a second mortgage. Next to that, this stunning Hudson. I've just been chatting to the owner of this one. What a cracking old car this is. What a great pair. Yeah, oh right, we've got the owner here of the 58. We have an appear inside, have we?
Worth a look.
Yeah, it's quite the dashboard, isn't it?
It's a unique dashboard.
Yeah. Did you buy it in this condition, or?
No.
No.
Like this.
Did you do it? Did you have to? What, the whole car, the
Whole
exterior?
car, everything.
You had to do it all, did you? Wow, wow, that's incredible. So how long did it take to sort this one out then?
We did it over 12 months.
12 months? Grief. What was it like to begin with? Was it solid?
It was a show car from the States, but the paint had faded on it.
Oh,
and the
right.
upholstery, the colour of the material had faded. So I decided I'm going to make it like brand new. So we
It's
did.
an incredible looking car, isn't it? So did they do a 2-door as well, or did they do
convertibles?
Wow.
There's several different models of the 58, but this was the top of the range one, the
Yeah.
limited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just incredible. Look at the detailing.
There's just so much detail. It's
Yeah.
electric seats.
Electric seats,
Six-position
1958.
electric
What's the pedal there? What does it say on there? Power brake. That is amazing, isn't it? What an incredible car that is.
But when we were making modest thousands.
Yeah, and
because we're
Austin
making
Cambridges
these-
and things. Yeah, I know, it's something else, isn't it? There was a real optimism in America back then, wasn't there? You know.
The 50s, magnificent.
It's funny how they went so much more sober in the 60s, wasn't it? It's as if they lost confidence or something. I don't know what it was.
After 58, they started taking all the chrome off the cars.
Yeah, 59 was like the Caddy, wasn't it?
Just
And
big panels with no detail, but this car's got detail in every panel.
yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? I won't ask what the rechroming. Yeah, you'll see it. Yeah, you'll see it. I won't ask what it cost to rechrome everything, or hopefully you didn't have to do that. Was it all right? Was it?
Stainless.
Is it? So you got a lot of stainless in there. Oh, that's
Just
helpful,
had to
isn't
have
it?
it polished.
Polish it up, take out any little dings or anything, maybe. But
Took 3 months to strip it, all its metalwork. Figuring out how to take the parts off it,
right,
because the manual doesn't really tell
in a
you.
very large garage, or double garage, or
No, single.
single garage.
It's wide.
Because when you take them apart, it's like 3 times the space you need, isn't it?
I just stored it all away in my mum's house. She had a couple of spare bedrooms.
Oh, right. So you just
Full of labelled parts.
brilliant, brilliant. That's a phenomenal car. That is. Thanks for the a quick chat about it.
You're most welcome.
Yeah. We're just here in the Rolls-Royce Enthusiast Club stall. What an incredible array of old Rolls-Royces and Bentleys here. But this, what a stunning car that is. I'll have to look at the model number, but Wow, what an imposing machine that is. Well, the Invicta Black Prince is on the move. Late 1940s. What an incredible car that is. Meadows engine, big double overhead cam, straight six.
He's just so funny. There's nothing there, we're going, and they're all, well, he's Jake, should we get him going?
This Triumph truly is spectacular. That waterfall grille is just something to behold. The young lady as the mascot. Wow. So what is it? 3-position drop head coupe. So we got in the first, well, obviously you got it fully closed, partially open as it is here, or fully folded down with these little pram irons. These sort of hinge on there, and the whole lot goes back. What a cracking car that is. You have a proper look at the dash now that the roof's folded back. Great little radio in the middle there as well. What a beautiful quality car, all these walnut cappings. Even the mechanism for the roof is beautifully made. thank you very much for watching this video here at Gawsworth Hall. It's been a real treat to come here after so many years of missing it. All being well, we'll get here again in future years. It's been a really, really good show. So thanks very much for watching. Please check out the rest of the channel while you're here. And there'll be more videos along very, very soon. So, bye for now.